Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on Scraplift Crafternoon. This week we are scraplifting Sharon, who has a little Facebook community group that will be linked below. It's called Sharon's Little Corner. I have asked and received her permission to scraplift this layout that Miss Kimberly found on Pinterest. She couldn't figure out who created it, wanted to scraplift it. I recognized the papers in the layout because it's a Hip Kit Club kit, and I went stalking her on Hip Kit's Facebook community group and found and asked if I could use it for our scrap lift. So I will probably share our playlist and everything on her group as I am a member over there. I'll ask her before I do that, but I think she already said I could do that, but I'll verify to make sure. Anyway, I'm going to pop her layout up here in the corner. It is a fun layout, and I'm also going to pop up there the instructions because she created some chevrons for her layout and was kind enough to share the instructions in her community group, which is amazing because I looked at that and went, I don't know how to do that. And newsflash, I'm actually not going to create my chevrons because I have this gorgeous piece of pattern paper from Vicki Boutin that I'm going to use instead. And I am so looking forward to playing with this. So I have my papers, I have my photo, and a little bit of ephemera and some of the puffy stickers, chipboard stickers, and the title, the phrases from that collection as well. I don't have a whole lot of that left, so maybe I'll get a nice title and some more of these other bits used up as well. I am going to bring in another set of thickers because my title is going to be spring is on my mind. So I'm going to use this part. And so I need the word spring. But anyway, I will dig out a set of black thickers probably to do that. And I'm going to be right back. So here is where I'm going to kind of digress a little bit from her design. She did some cross stitching as a border around the edges of her layout, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stitch on my layout, but not on the edge. So I pulled out this Vicki Boutin stencil and some light blue acrylic paint, and I used some washi tape to mask off some places on the stencil, and I'm just going to use it to create that border around my layout. It's just kind of a subtle nod to her beautifully stitched border. Now, I love to hand stitch. You guys all know that about me, and that's not why I'm not stitching. The reason I'm not stitching is because I'm going to stitch the chevrons instead. Ever since I've received that piece of pattern paper, I have been dying to stitch on it. And so, as you can see, I cut out the chevrons from the one pattern paper, and then I stacked them up in the middle to give you the same idea as what Sharon had on her layout. And I really like to play with paint and stuff, and oh yeah, I'm making a huge mess on my glass mat, and no big deal. I just use a spray bottle and some paper towels to clean it up. It does all come off pretty easily because, of course, acrylic paint is water-based, and as long as you don't let it dry forever, it's not going to be a big deal to clean up. So the other good thing about using acrylic paint like this and it being water-based is it also dries relatively quickly for you, so you can move along to the next step. And a lot of Vicki Boutin's pattern papers look like they have been stenciled with acrylic paint. There are a couple of like splotches on the paper where I got that chevron from, like there at the top you can see some little circles, and that completely looks like acrylic paint run through a circle stencil. Anyway, so I'm just kind of giving a nod to the cross stitching on the edges, and then also pulling in just a little bit of mixed media into my layout. I adore mixed media. You probably already know that about me. I have no issues with getting my hands and area completely messy and then just cleaning it up later. I know that a lot of people don't care for messy scrapbooking, and that's okay. I love it enough for probably at least a few of us. Anyway, so I'm about done here, and we're going to move on to the next step. I did want to give you a little bit of a close-up of my stitching on this layout so that you could see that I actually spent the time to hand stitch. I don't know if you can see it in the video as well. So technically this photo is supposed to be landscape, but I turned it so that it is this portrait orientation just like it is on Sharon's layout. I just couldn't get it to look right. Now I pulled in these tree die cuts. They have been sitting on my desktop since I completed a Christmas layout here a while back, and I was just trying to use them. I'm not going to end up using them. They end up getting pulled off. I decided that they just didn't fit well with all of the other embellishments from Fernwood that I did want to get used up. Now, no, the mushrooms have absolutely nothing to do with my photo at all, other than it just being something from nature. And of course, this tree in my yard where we lived in Clarksville, Tennessee, was just a reminder that spring was on its way. The blossoms were beautiful, and so I'm just using some of the nature type pieces from this collection on my layout. So I'm out of many of the die cuts, and this little bird die cut or chipboard piece right here, there was a die cut in the collection too that was very similar to it, and I wanted to get this put on here because those flowers are very similar to the ones in my photo, and so I definitely wanted to use that. Initially, I did not intend to use 3 gnomes. Gnomes are not my thing. Yes, they're cute, but they're just not my favorite thing. So I have a ton of them in this collection that I really need to get used up. And I was using this collection for some of our hiking photos, and I ran out of pattern papers, and I bought an entire second paper pad of this collection just so that I could use up all of the embellishments in it. Now I've had buyer's remorse ever since because there's still so many embellishments left. I don't know if I will actually use up all of them once I am finished using the paper this go around, and I'm not buying a third paper pad. Nope, not gonna happen. So I'm trying to put this title in a similar spot where Sharon's is on her layout, and I just feel like it's floating out there for me in a weird place because it's a relatively large title, and I'm going to end up moving this around a couple of times before I settle on it being down on the chevrons instead. And this is where I'm looking at that going, I don't like that up there. It just seems to be floating. Hers looks amazing. I don't like it with my chevrons. I don't like it with that background paper that I chose. It's just not working for me. So here's a fun thing. You see me drop the little dot several times for the word mind, and I drag out my tweezers trying to get that thing placed. I dropped it and I finally just gave up, and I found it the second time because I lost it right there on the back of another letter. It was so weird. Anyway, so now I'm moving that title again, and again, I think I move it one more time before I settle on it. And I think that last time I move it, it may be off camera, and I just kind of move it around a little bit. Right now I know it's not straight, and that is okay because I'm going to have to glue those letters down anyway. So I'm looking at it. and I'm going to kind of move everything else around because I feel like is too close to the edge. And I'm just kind of letting it sit there while I decide what I'm actually going to do with it. So I want to get some of these other puffy stickers on here. I pulled the large heart that I had left on the puffy sticker phrase set. And now I am pulling some other little fussy or little puffy stickers. I pull out a bird and some hearts and a couple of more mushrooms just so that I have mushrooms in every cluster. I end up with gnomes in every cluster. I end up with a heart in every cluster too, I do believe. Now, I did not purchase all of these small packs of puffy stickers. I think I managed to get 2, and then my friend Kimberly from I'd Rather Be Scrapbooking actually sent me the remainder of hers once she used up her pattern paper from this collection. Anyway, so I have a few that I still want to use. Sharon had, I didn't blow up her layout. She either had some typed journaling in 3 places on her layout, or she just used some phrases. And I have one place for journaling, and then the other place I am going to be using the little phrases. All right, I got this scrap lift completely finished. I hope that you can see where I took inspiration from the original layout. I tried to do her 3 embellishment clusters and her title. I did move things around because using the black on this darker paper, it just didn't stand out like I wanted it to. I did have to laugh at myself when I turned off the camera. I noticed I put this little phrase across the bird's face. That's not going to work, so I moved that down, of course. And I did add some foam adhesive in various places just to give some dimension to this layout. Make sure that you check out that description box below for our weekly playlist. And if you want to go ahead and check out everybody's Instagram accounts, those are also listed below, as well as all of our YouTube channels. And we really appreciate all the comments and stuff that you guys put on our videos. It helps YouTube show that our content is needed, wanted, whatever words you want to use. And we do appreciate. I do want to thank you for being here today. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.